What's up, y'all? As you can see behind me, we out at the range still having some fun. Getting ready to do another test out here. The weather's beautiful, so we're going to hang out here as long as we can today. You better believe it. Got another real interesting one here. What we're doing today, obviously got our jelly contraption. Now there's a couple tracks in these already from the 223 test that I just done. Y'all probably should have seen it already. If you hadn't, there's a link up above. Go check that out. Very interesting. So it's the gel's a little bit taken up, but I think we got enough room down here to do what we need to do. So what we're doing this time is some good old 300 Blackout. What we're going to be testing, thanks to Tim R, who sent us in some of his famous hand loads. We got some 300 Blackouts. He sent us some 110 VMAX and some 110 grain Varmageddon. So we're going to test both of these side by side. Both of them's loaded with 19.5 grains of H110 powder. So should be some pretty nice loads. We're going to see what Tim's handiwork's all about. And we'll get some speeds on them, and then we're going to put them in the jelly. And now what we're running it out of today, we ain't going to get the full potential probably of what he's put in them, because we're just running it out of an 8.5 inch barrel they are here. So we're going to run it out to 8.5, the Varmageddon and the VMAX, and see what they all about. So let me get y'all finished set up and we'll get at it. All right, y'all, I think we'll start out with the VMAX, 110 grain VMAX. We'll get the Chrono on these. We'll do a 2-shot Chrono speed on them because we don't want to waste these good loads up for sure. So sight should be pretty on. Last time I used it, I'm thinking I had it pretty dialed in. I hadn't shot this in quite a while, so we'll find out here if the Chrono survives. It was good enough. So let's do it. Let the 110 grain VMAX. Here we go, y'all. 2154. And 2162. So let's run up here and let's get an average on that and see what we're looking at. Alright, so the 2-shot average on the 110 grain VMAX is 2158 feet per second. So let's load up some of them Varmageddons and see what we got going on those. Alright, here we go, y'all. Got us the Varmageddons in there now. 110 grain Varmageddon. We're going to do a 2-shot average on these too. See what they're moving. Here we go. 2127. And 2138. So let's go check the average on those. Alright, so 2-shot average on the Varmageddons was 2132 feet per second. And if you remember on the VMAX, it was 2158 feet per second. So they're pretty doggone close. The VMAX is what, 27 feet per second more. So very little difference whatsoever on that. So let's get all this stuff out of the way, and y'all know what time it is. Alright, we're going to start out with the VMAX again here on the gel, the 110 grain VMAX. Now, if I'm not mistaken, both of these, the VMAX and the Varmageddon, are made to fragment. So if that's the case, I'm going to be spending a lot of time probably picking a bunch of pieces out of my gel. So thanks a lot, Tim. Anyway, y'all know what time it is. Jelly time. So here we go, the 110 grain VMAX, 300 Blackout. Alright, look like a pretty decent placement. Let's go down there and see what happened. Alright, it definitely fragmented. Tim, I'm going to tell you what, man, you should have known better. I'm going to be cleaning that stuff out of that block for an hour. But anyway, it did perform very nice. I'm sure y'all can already see. We'll check it out here in a minute. But let's see what the Varmageddon's got for it. Same weight, 110 grain Varmageddon through the 300 Blackout. I'm going to try my best to put it up above that one instead of to the side so we can get a good look at them. But let's see how it works out, y'all. Here we go. I think I put it almost in the exact same hole. Let me see what we got down there. Alright, y'all, I actually did put the Varmageddon above the VMAX, but just barely. I mean, just barely above it. And what's really interesting is, yes, they all fragmented and made a terrible mess in my gel. I'm going to be cleaning this for hours. But interestingly enough, they behave differently. The VMAX, as you can see come in here, it kind of shed most of its little polymer tip right there. And then the round started breaking up. All of this is VMAX. All of this big area, all of that wound cavity right there is the VMAX. Started shedding a lot of its lead, and the remaining bit of the lead stopped over here. And I'll show you a different view so we can get a better look at that. The Varmageddon, as soon as it came in, it's starting shedding little bits of piece of jacket and a little bits of its core right in here, and this right there is the wound channel of the Varmageddon. And then it after it split out what it was going to split out, the main projectile continued and stopped about right here. So definitely way different actions on these rounds. That's really interesting to see that. So let me get you a view from overhead. Maybe you can see a little better what's going on. All right, so as you can see from above here, it's going to be difficult to see this because they're right on top of each other, but you see that Varmageddon, these little pieces that are coming out, as soon as it came in, that Varmageddon started throwing little pieces like that. Let's see if this view's any better. Nah, that view's really not any better. But the Varmageddon, like I said, it's kind of tough to see what's going on. But like I said, the Varmageddon started shedding all of its pieces really early, and the remainder of it stopped right here. Nothing from the Varmageddon went any further than right there. So very short distance. Like I say, shed all of its stuff right here, kept right there, and stopped right there. Now, the VMAX, I'm trying to get a good angle where you can see that. The VMAX is the one on the bottom. And like I say, it kept doing its thing, and if you come back up here and look at it, it's on the far right. So you see that? Now this little string, that little bit of a string right there is from the other test, and that swirl that goes that way is from the 223. But the VMAX went here, crossed over that old mark, kept going right here, dumped a lot of its jacket right in here, and then the rest of it stopped right there. So that's the VMAX. Followed it, it dumped its jacket, crossed over that old track. So this right here is a different track. So it crossed over that old track, and all of this is VMAX. All of that's VMAX, and then you get right here, you can see the Varmageddon part on top of the VMAX. And again, the Varmageddon threw out some little pieces, and then boom, Varmageddon stopped here. The VMAX continued into the other block all the way to here. So let me do a little measurement on it. So it's going to be kind of difficult to say the penetration, but if we take the Varmageddon, the biggest part that left is like 11 inches. Nothing out of that Varmageddon went any further than 11 and a half. You get a little trail there. But between 11 and 11 and a half inches, nothing went any further from the Varmageddon. Now the VMAX, its main chunk, it didn't dump it and quit moving it until 20 inches. So VMAX carried all the way to 20. The Varmageddon stopped dumping at 11. But like I said, the Varmageddon shed most of its body way early. It shed it all in here. That's where all the lead, the jacket, most of that projectile came apart very early on that Varmageddon. Where the VMAX, some of it lost a little bit of it, but right here, it shed most of the rest of its jacket that was still left that hadn't already came off, and then the remaining projectile stopped there, like I said again, about 20 inches. 20 inches on that VMAX, and again about 11 to 11 and a half on the Varmageddon. So pretty interesting stuff how those worked out. Let me see if I can pull the main part of the projectile. It's going to be virtually impossible to get it all out, but let me see what I can pull. All right, y'all, I pulled out the biggest pieces I could, well, the biggest pieces that were left. They're both really similar on what happened. I mean, they pretty much both reached the same end result, but did it in different ways. They both just completely broke up, shed a lot of their weight and a lot of their lead and jacket and everything along the way. But again, the Varmageddon, it did it sooner. It basically, as soon as it entered into the jail, it started dumping material and expended most of all its energy and shed what it was going to shed very early. And then this is what ended up. You got this little mangled up piece with some jacket still on it there. I didn't bring a scale, so I can't really weigh what's left, but I can just tell you just from feel, it's about the same as far as what's left, because this is a little more lead from the Varmageddon, or from the VMAX, and this has got more jacket on the Varmageddon. As far as weight, just feeling it, it's about the same. It's about the same just by feel. Now I know that's not scientific, but I can just tell you it's very similar. But again, this is the Varmageddon. This is the one that shed most of what it was going to shed early. It dumped a lot of lead out. You can see it very early on. There's some pieces of it there. Again, that is the Varmageddon. That's that first big wound dump, and then it stops right there behind that VMAX wound area. Stopped right there. And this is the VMAX. The VMAX, as you can see on the bottom, came in, shed its little tip about right there, started dumping some material. You can see some lead where it dumped some of its lead around in here. Kept on with a nice big wound channel, nice big chunk of its jacket and lead. Dumped about the remaining bit of its jacket and all right about in here. You can even see it right in there, the majority of the jacket. And then the actual projectile stopped right about here, and that's what's left of it, a chunk of lead. So these are some really nice projectiles, and it's very interesting that they work different but the same. You know, it's kind of the best way to explain it. They're different but the same. They both broke apart, shed most of their weight and most of their material, but did it in different ways. Now, as far as which one would be better, I guess that would be depending on the situation, or, you know, y'all tell me, what do y'all think about these? I can tell you this, whatever is on the receiving end of this is going to have a messy time dealing with what comes from it. Like, absolutely messy time. Anything that takes the receiving end of either one of these is not going to fare well. I can just tell you, no matter what it is. But very interesting rounds. I really appreciate Tim sending these to me. I've never put these in any kind of jail, so it's very interesting to see. Now, that being said, I'm going to be hours cleaning all this mess out of my jail. It made the awfulest mess I've ever seen. But let me know what y'all think about these. What do you think about which one would be used for what, or what do you think about them in general? Let me know. All right, y'all, one more jelly test in the books. This one was pretty interesting also. First time we've done 300 blackout in the jail, so definitely some new stuff to look at here. Appreciate Tim again. Man, these are some awesome little rounds for sure. I'm looking forward to doing some accuracy testing on these out of that little 8.5-inch AR too, so y'all stay tuned for that also. I got a heck of a mess to clean up out of this jail. I'll tell you that. That's all I've been thinking since I've done it, I'll be honest. That's how long it's going to take me to clean up this jail. But hey, it was definitely very interesting to see what these did. So appreciate y'all checking out the video. If y'all enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up. Leave me some comments down below. What do y'all think about these rounds? What do you think the best use of these things is? Obviously hunting rounds, it would be very nice. But now as far as self-defense, like, I sure wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of this. You talking about a heck of a mess to have to deal with right here. I mean, a messy situation right here. So let me know y'all's thoughts on these. What do you think these are best used for? What would you use these for? Or have you used these rounds for whatever? Let me know down in the comments. Make sure you hit the thumbs up. Like I said, if you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe. I got a lot more coming on these jail tests and these rounds here that Tim sent me. I'm going to do, like I say, some accuracy testing and some other things with these. Should be very interesting. So make sure y'all subscribe, so when I upload that stuff, you can check it out. You get the notification and all that jazz. Again, leave me some comments. Let me know what y'all think about it. Appreciate all y'all watching. Appreciate the heck out of my range gang members who reached down and hit that join button. Really do appreciate that. Again, make sure you stay subscribed. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and stay tuned, because we got a lot more stuff coming. So in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.